So many people are asking the question, what next for Raila Odinga? Mine is a much more deeper question. What next for the Luo Nation? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Nationalist Show. I'm your host, Kennedy Abongo. Before we proceed with our analysis, do kindly subscribe and click that notification bell so that you're notified whenever we post. My dear viewers, what next for the Luo community? The community has suffered immeasurable losses in general elections, each painful in its own right, but none more dispiriting like the 2007 general election and the now 2022 general election. The 2007 one was an outright rigging, where people woke up the following morning and found that a person who had been overwhelmingly defeated was now ahead. At night, President Kibaki was sworn in as the head of state. The 2022 one is another painful and dispiriting one. It marks the end of the long walk of Raila Odinga as an enigma of Kenyan politics and an epitome of democracy in his own right. It was the last battle of a gallant Luo leader who I do hereby now offer salutations to. Jacom, we respect you as a Luo leader. But we must always remind ourselves that as the proverbial phoenix, the Luo community has always been faced with difficult situations, that they've always risen up to surmount and overcome all these problems. And I assure you the 2022 one won't be any different. The community has seen losses before. Our people and our great leaders like Tom Mboya were killed, but the community moved on. Robert Ouko was killed, but the community moved on. We have seen our leaders rise to the pinnacle, or at least near pinnacle, of leadership of our nation. People who are respected beyond our borders. We have seen our people like Lupita Nyong'o overcoming battles in faraway lands, winning things that were erstwhile considered unwinnable for a people like us. But in all those battles, we've come out on top. This, then, is where we are at this moment. The Luo community are in the depth of despair. The community now more than ever lacks a clear direction on how to approach the future ahead. In such situation, great men will always rise. In difficult situation, great men will always rise. And I repeat for the third time, in difficult situations, great men will always rise. And therefore it is time for the community to sit down and reflect. Let the community look into the mirror and see, how did we reach in this situation? How have we found ourselves in this depth of despair? And the most critical question is, how can we overcome it? It requires a roundtable discussion amongst the leaders of our community. People must sit down and people must reflect. And we must talk candidly to one another and say, without fear of contradiction, the failures we have witnessed amongst ourselves. Call them out. Anger will of course flare. People will blame each other, but none should leave that table without a solution. So that our people, when we come out and speak to them, they can have direction on where we want the community to be in the next 5 years. It is not the time It is not the time to cry about lost battles. We have to learn about lost battles. When you cry, you lose the opportunity to learn. It is not the time to play in what I call victim Olympics. We must remove our community from victim Olympics. The community must urgently sit down and seek to pick important lessons for future battles, because those are most important. There cannot be possible, that cannot be possible when we play victim Olympics. I'm telling you this. We cannot be a people who just blame everybody else without sitting down to consider why we are in the situation we are in right now. It is time for our community to sit down. It is time not to apportion blame. It is time not to look at other people and say, they are the ones who have made us to be who we are today. That they are the ones who have created the problems that we find ourselves in today. And I urge you, our peoples should borrow a leaf from the Igbo community of Nigeria, who, having realized that they cannot win the political battle, went ahead and pursued other ways. Right now, they have risen to the pinnacle of economic power in Nigeria. Their experience is on all fours similar to that of the Luo community. 5 elections, 0 wins. The difference between the Igbo community and the Luo community is that the Igbo stopped and reflected. For in reflection, they found their direction and solution. And in implementation, they found their success. It is that stage that the Luo community now finds itself today. We must borrow a leaf again from the Jews as well. They did not play victims, even when they were faced with the most serious kind of discrimination. The world was against them. But they said they mastered their pain and found their strength to walk towards their solution. As a community, we must also master our pain, find our strength, and walk towards our solution. The Jewish way is to say, when there is a problem in the world, let me be the one that finds that is the first to put it right. Do we have a problem in our nation? Yes, we do. Do we have a problem as a community? Yes, we do. Let us be the first people to make it right as a community. Let us champion the interest of our nation in the best way possible without playing victim. So many people, especially Luos, I've seen them complaining about Chebukati, about President Uhuru Kenyatta, about Azimio Secretariat, about the IEBC, about the Supreme Court, and all. They feel that these are the people who have put us where we are. They feel that they are victims of these people and this institution. The problem, however, with playing victim is that they put themselves out of any possible way of improving their situation. So if the Luo community will not sit down and reflect and try to find solution to their problems, then they will be putting themselves out of any possible solution that they may find when they do such reflection. Because a victim will always remain a victim. I'm not saying that Luos are not victims. I'm saying that we must not play victims. We may have been victims of injustices, but let us find ways of ensuring that justice is restored. It is not a time to cry. The Luo must not hand over their lives to someone else. The Luo must not be victims. They must never see themselves as such. They are a great community which, given the chance, can produce great sons and daughters of this nation. And we have in the times past. And I assure you, post-Raila Odinga, there will rise men and women of stature and of integrity, and who are capable of driving this nation to the heights even Honorable Raila Odinga himself could not achieve. A man walks out because men are destined to die, and men are destined to get old, but dreams never die. The community must carry the dreams of Right Honorable Raila Odinga to its conclusion. We must look for solutions that help us as a community. We must now come together in this isolation and find strength and move forward as one. And above all, we must find a way of negotiating with the devil. It is only one way to achieve that prosperity. We must work with the government of the day. I'm not saying joining the government. I'm saying working with the government, finding best ways to help our community prosper, putting proper legislation through parliament so that our community can benefit, ensuring that industries in Nyanza and all agricultural sector is improved, the fishery sector is improved, and all the development projects that President Uhuru Kenyatta started and are still ongoing in Nyanza are all completed within these 5 years of President Ruto's government. We cannot do that if we play victims. Because if we play victims, 2027 will reach without the community having any proper direction. We are too big to be ignored. Ladies and gentlemen, the Luo community must now sit down and reflect. This message is meant to all Luos, and I hope that you hear it and consume it with the love it is intended. That marks the end of this analysis. Thank you very much. Subscribe, share, and comment.